Hello everyone, this is CJNovo992 and today we're back for another brand new video. And remember in our last upload where I said you better prepare to see a hell of a lot of me, and I will probably test your patience this week with how much you need to see this guy. Well, we're back already, ladies and gentlemen, and we aren't even halfway actually done. It's busy, troops. Very, very busy. But this one is another delicious Rangers rumour. I know you're waiting for the confirmation of A, B and C, and we will be speaking about them on the channel. But this one is another Rangers rumour that was lingering around in the background, but now has went ahead and took massive strides forward as the player is very keen on making it happen. So now we are sitting here to talk about none other than another Rangers rumour, and this one is Connor Barron. And you know, it's funny, right, because doing these videos for so many years, discussing so many topics with you, I sort of get the vibe and the feeling when I make videos if people are going to be happy or be sad or be annoyed or be glad. And this one is an interesting one because I feel like it is something that a lot of people has actually been craving. I mean, there's been a lot of excitement about some of the players we've spoken about and some of the other players I'm going to be talking about very, very soon. I know there's excitement, but there is still the same conversation. What about the Scottish registration? We need more Scottish talent. Why do we keep ignoring the talent here? So I think this video might appease a lot of people that's been curious about the Rangers transfer strategy, and for me it's one of the most obvious ones that needed to happen. It was a video we made not too long ago actually where we talked about some of the talent, and Connor was a part of that. But again, I would just like to remind us, I know the excitement is going to reach this fever pitch. It is none other than that Rangers rumour. It's not a confirmation of the signing. If the player's keen and if the club's keen and everything like that, that's great, but it can still fall apart, and this one could be one that might require a little bit of patience, and it might not be as close as a lot of people were actually hinting it to be as of today. Tomorrow could be different, the next day could be next week, but that's all I wanted to say, ladies and gentlemen. It's never a confirmation of the signing. It can come crumbling down, but this one looks good. That's why we're sitting here and talking about it. And whether or not it does end up turning to be true, and whether or not Connor Barron is a future Rangers player, let's take a step back and not get distracted by that. Let's kick the tyres, check under the hood and see if he should be. And let's start off with the all-player profile then, shall we? Which should be a little bit easier. So if you didn't mind hitting a like button, that'd be greatly appreciated, as we are now on a 43-week streak of 1,000 likes a video, which is crazy. We're closing in on almost a year of 1,000 likes of videos. There is massive channels with hundreds of Ks that didn't get that, and you guys are allowing this channel to do that, which is absolutely amazing. But the player profile on Connor Barron should be pretty damn simple, as it's a familiar name to a lot of people, not only that watch Rangers and watch him play against Rangers over the last couple of years, but again watch this channel as we've spoken about him before in a video. But I know not everyone's going to catch every video or are interested in every video, so let's tell a wee bit of the story of Connor Barron then, shall we? Right now he is currently a 21-year-old centre midfielder slash CDM, a player that does get stuck in about, a player that can do a wee bit of everything, and a player that has been impressing and catching the eye for a little while now actually, especially the last 2 years. Last season was obviously affected by injury, but that's when he just started to show his worth. That's when he just started to get spoken about, and after this season again where he played his most games of his career, he went ahead and showed what he can do, especially in a side that was struggling like an Aberdeen side. That was him being consistent and showing his worth on a team that was inconsistent. What if he came to a team with better players? That's when the conversation started to pick up. Again, he is right-footed, but he can dig out with the left if required, but he's normally a right-footed midfielder that again puts himself about, and we do find ourselves doing a lot of these conversations or comparisons with these videos as it helps to paint the picture of the player. And I know a lot of you will know Connor Barron, but if you're asking me to liken him to a Rangers player or a player that's just left or a player that's just leaving, for me this isn't a Jacko replacement or a Raskin replacement or anything like that. This right here is Lunny's replacement. And honestly, I know the highs were so high with Lundstrom, but the lows were dreadful. And I think if you look at this 21-year-old laddie, where he is right now, no talking about potential, what he could be, I wouldn't say there's too much difference between him and Lunny, if I'm being brutally honest, right now. But again, he's 21-year-old. He's getting better every season. What he could end up being is a fantastic player for us. But we have obviously made a couple of references to this video that I made not too long ago, and if you remember that video, it was on the list of players I would like to see Rangers sign this summer and players that we need to stop turning our nose up to, but he wasn't even my first choice. That was like David Watson of Kilmarnock, and I do still stand by what I did say in that video. I did believe Connor Barron would end up being a Rangers player, but it wouldn't be my first choice in terms of going and grabbing. Yes, as a part of it, but I wasn't dying to bring him in, and the only reason that was the case, and it still is the case right now when I'm currently recording today's video, and I will only sit and pretend that I never said that, is because of his injury history, which does scare me to death. And I know that's not fair on the player, but again, when you're as scarred as we are as a football club, if there is one fan base in football that has the right to be nervous when looking at a player that's had injuries after injuries, it's us, ladies and gentlemen, because we have no luck at all when it comes to rolling that dice on players with spotty injury histories, and that's why he wasn't in my top 2 picks, but he was a part of the 5, and he is a player I believed would come to Rangers, and it's starting to part the old ways, and it's looking like he's on his way. But we know a lot about Connor Barron, we know what we've said in the past, so let's get to some other stuff and really start to dive into it then, shall we? And that leads us to the old numbers and stats. That's our next stop on our journey, and the numbers and stats are actually pretty encouraging and starts to make you feel a little bit better, because coming into where we are right now, he has played 42 games in all competitions last season for Aberdeen, in which he scored 1 goal, grabbed 3 assists and picked up 4 yellow cards, which again isn't world beating stats, and you'll say this about him and you'll say that about him. I get all that, but again, you're talking about consistency and you're talking about performances in a team that was absolutely all over the place. Aberdeen never finished in the top 6 last season. They had very, very little consistency to stand up and show up, especially being a young laddie through a season of turmoil like that. Says a lot about what he's capable of. And again, the old saying, you play better with better players. If he comes up the road, he will be playing with better players. Maybe he'll start getting a better input. But again, maybe the damning thing of Rangers centre midfielders over the last couple of years is, poor as those stats are to read on paper, it's very similar to what Jacko and Lunny's been doing over the last couple of years. Again, their roles aren't to score the goals and create loads of assists, but you're wanting to see some numbers, and I'm sure that'll be something we look at with Connor Barron as well, as he's certainly got a lot to his game, and he's a lot more mobile, in my opinion, than a Lundstrom. So if he is playing in that role, and if he is sitting in the midfield, he can run up and down without pulling that cart horse. But again, we did mention injuries a couple of times, and that was because the previous year, when he had played just 19 games in all competitions, he missed over 20 games to injury. And the year before that, where he played 29 games in all competitions, he missed around 10 games through injuries as well. That was the worry, but the way to look at it, depending if you're a half full guy or a half empty type of guy, is he has played more games this season than he's ever played in his entire career. So maybe, just maybe, getting those games under his belt, maybe he said goodbye to the injury bug that was plaguing him for the first couple seasons of his career. He's just came through a full season without a blemish on that role, and hopefully that continues if he pulls on the Rangers shirt. But as always, let's take a step back now and look at this man's entire footballing CV then, shall we? At the age of 21 years old, which would normally be something we would laugh at and mock at and look at, but where we are as a football club and where we are as a transfer strategy and where we are in terms of bringing in and recruiting players over the next couple of days, maybe next week, is we are looking at a laddie that is 21 years old, and he's one of the most experienced players we'll look at this summer, as he's played a whopping 104 games under his belt, showing he does get about. Now, 46 of them is in the Premiership. He has obviously played in the lower league for Celtic Hearts, but a lot of cup experience, and again, there is a lot of experience there, and we find ourselves in a position, ladies and gentlemen, to be looking at a 21-year-old that's played 104 games, and where we are as a team, you drop him in there right now, he's the experienced campaigner of the summer transfer strategy. The kid's 21. But to finish off the stats, because I know some people's OCD will be getting tickled right now, he does have 4 goals to his name, 8 assists and 11 yellow cards. Again, showing he gets about. That yellow card total will jump right up when he pulls on the Rangers blue. And that's the numbers and stats. That's the player profile. Now let's talk about the competition for places and the controversy surrounding this move, which is kind of laughable. But talking about the competition for places again, Lunny has left this football club. I think he will come in and play that role. Again, we're bringing in a lot of young laddies here, ladies and gentlemen. They will have to rotate and they will have to learn, and Connor Barron, I think, will be an important piece to the puzzle if he does go ahead and sign on the dotted line. But that's what I see. That's who his replacement is. I think he's as good as Lunny is right now, in my opinion, with the progression and the potential to become a much better player and hopefully a much more consistent player. Slot him right in there and he'll do your job, in my personal opinion. And not only does that, but he also ticks the massive Scottish registration, which we badly need at this football club for European Cup competitions and European stages, so we didn't get punished, fined or get reduced players that we can register like we did last season, because Michael Beale built such a bad side. We went in to last year's European competition having to register less players for punishment. So hopefully this is the start of a lot of recruitment in terms of that, and it should be a very tidy player, and I see him jumping right to the nearest to the top of the midfield. The likes of Damien Garcia, the likes of Connor Barron won't jump at you in that, but you know what they do? They give you foundations and they give you a platform so the likes of Diamandi can go forward and get involved in the ball. Cantwell, if he's still here, can go ahead and do that. You're looking at those players that's having to drop a wee bit deeper to try and get involved. Diamandi's a very good player, he really is, but he is wasted having to drop a wee bit deeper. Well, now you've got pitbulls, now you've got guys that can go and get stuck in and build a foundation that they can then go and be the players we want to actually see, and he can be the attacking threat. So didn't get lost on these guys' stats or anything like that. They do a very important job. If you didn't believe me, how much of a better side we were when Ryan Jack was playing, but yet you look at his stats and say, wait, what's that? It's not a stat game. You have to watch the games. Jacko provided something different to the squad. Damien can do it, and when Lunny was at his best, he was pulling the strings of the entire midfield. That's also what Connor can do. So it's definitely a step in the right direction, in my opinion. And for me, it's almost a zero risk type of transfer if we can bring him in to the door. The only question mark would be his injury history, but it's Rangers Football Club. Do you know what I mean? It's just part and parcel, and that moves me on to the old controversy regarding this signing, as Aberdeen fans are foaming at the move and foaming this and foaming that and talking about Ryan Jack and slamming this and slam. I just didn't get it, ladies and gentlemen. You know what I mean? It feels so forced. It feels so daft. He wants to come and play here. Let the lad go play here. And if I'm honest, Aberdeen fans should just be very, very thankful that yes, we took Jacko, but we never took Ferguson when I feel like we should have took him as well, and now we're taking Barron. For me, I'd have took all three of them off the books. Now, am I saying Connor Barron's going to be as good as Lewis Ferguson, or do I feel as confident that Connor Barron can be as good as Ferguson was? When I was looking at him and I felt like he was a really good player and I was screaming down to an echo chamber telling me it was just his last name, I'm not 100% sure on that, but again, he's got the potential, and that potential is what we're bringing in to this football club, and that's it, ladies and gentlemen. It'll obviously be a free transfer now that he's out of contract. It seems like a no risk, it seems like a no-brainer. It almost makes too much sense, that makes you nervous on Rangers fumbling the bag right here. But that's my opinions on Connor Barron, a really, really talented player. He's not going to tick the box for the Lewis Ferguson. I feel like that was still a mistake of previous years. I don't think he's as good as Ferguson was when we could have got him. But he's his own man. He's his own player. And I think he could tick a very important box in this team. What about you? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down there in the old comment section below. And I prepare to see a lot of me, ladies and gentlemen. Do apologise about that. But until next time, I've been CJ992. Thank you so much for watching. All the best and bye-bye.